Welcome to Blacklight Cinema's first ever podcast. Today we'll be reviewing
Money in the Bank. Yes, let's get this podcast started. Sorry for that. Those last 3 seconds are a waste. Welcome to the podcast. Just kidding.
This guy's terrible. All right, this is our first ever podcast. We're going to be reviewing Batman vs. Superman. To start, we have sound effects over here. That's his name for the rest of the podcast. If anybody calls him anything different, believe me, it's not going to be pretty.
That sounds like. What does that sound like? What does that sound like to you? Money in the Bank.
All right. Let's focus here. Speaking about Money in the Bank, how do we feel about the box office performance of Batman vs. Superman?
I have mixed feelings about it.
It made over $800 million.
That is from a lot of nerds, naturally. You know, comic book fans.
Most of them.
And I say that being
It's
one.
not even remotely true, but okay.
And I think that
Don't check my statistics.
I think that I have mixed reviews on it because I expected more from the movie itself as a whole. But then again,
Okay, but pure box office performance, though.
I think that's pretty impressive. The amount of money, because I think it even beat the Avengers.
It did not, but, you know, it made pretty close. I mean, it's only the 6th ranking movie of all time for superhero movies, which is pretty good.
You need
I remember it beat some record.
It beat Spider-Man 2.
Well,
That's something. You know, Spider-Man 2
It
was
beat,
the best of
here,
all
I'll tell you
the
this.
same
I will
trilogy.
tell you this. It beat Man of Steel's domestic box office and international box office.
What about, did it beat any of the Batman films?
From, like, the 90s.
None of the Christian Bale ones?
Maybe Batman Begins. Actually, you know what? For sure, Batman Begins.
For sure Batman Begins?
For sure, Batman Begins.
Okay.
All right, but anyway, let's talk a little bit about the film. What were some of the strong points you felt about the film?
The action sequences were a pretty strong point that I thought they did really well on. The graphics, and I think they spent a lot of money on making it look good, like the fight scenes and whatnot. So it paid off in the end.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you, sound effects.
Yes.
Thank you.
Kind of dropped the ball there. See, I was looking for something.
I mean, because this is a real show. We do real interviews.
This is.
I mean, now I feel like we should do a sad Affleck on you because you just dropped the ball. You pretty much like, I agree. Who does that sound like?
That sounds like Ben Affleck.
It sounds like
It's a
sad
Hello,
Affleck.
sadness, my new friend. Like that.
Ben Hackflick.
Ben Affleck.
Okay.
Let's talk about Ben Affleck.
Okay,
Like, I'm
sound effects. Let's talk about Ben Affleck for a little bit. Sound effects. What did you think of Ben Affleck's performance as Batman?
Look, you know, I know a lot of people were behind Ben Affleck at first when they announced he was going to be playing the next Batman after Christian Bale. I mean, come on, everybody of our generation loved Christian Bale. And he did a fantastic job. In fact, I would go as far to say he's my favorite actor in the entire film as a whole. I mean, Batman, all his scenes, he steals it, okay? I mean, I would have liked to seen a lot more from Henry Cavill, but he did. He played his part as Superman. But Ben Affleck, he really surprised us. We got more even than we saw in the trailer, and that's exactly what you want to see going into a film like this.
I agree. I think that the casting of Ben Affleck, I was like mixed. I wasn't really opposed, but I wasn't necessarily rooting for at the same time. I think what really changed my perspective on him is when I saw that third or second trailer when he's in the warehouse. I think it's the third trailer. But when he's in the warehouse, to me, that is Batman. The fact that he goes in and takes out like 12 guys and systematically just destroys that whole warehouse. I think that was awesome. I feel like in the Dark Knight trilogy, it was very interesting and story-wise was compelling, but the action just wasn't up to par when it came to hand-to-hand combat. And I think that this really changed my idea of how Batman could be portrayed in live-action film, just based on the fight scenes themselves. Now, there are a few other hot button issues in this film, but before we get to those, let's talk about some of the other stars that we enjoyed. Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman.
I personally liked her performance. I can't give a full opinion on her either because of the fact that she only had maybe a couple lines here and there throughout the different scenes that she was in. But
By the way, if you heard clinking or any type of like glasses and stuff, we're drinking during this podcast. It is a fact.
Yeah, that is.
I mean, we got sound effects over here, and he's just clanking glasses while Marcus is trying to talk. But
It's Kool-Aid.
It's all good.
But anyway,
Play another sound effect.
continue on.
Play another sound. We get the laser rocket in there. That sounded good enough to me, fellas.
Okay,
That's
it was a
sound
dud.
effect.
That one was a
I'm
dud.
trying to find a Papa Ding Ding Ching. If anybody gets that reference, please like and subscribe.
We're still figuring things out.
There we got the
When Gal Gadot shows
inception
up on screen,
I'm thinking,
doesn't it feel like this moment?
There
It
we
does.
go. It does sound
It
exactly
sounds
what she
almost like a
talks
beginning of
on.
a Batman movie
Yes,
too.
absolutely.
Okay,
Maybe
okay.
a little bit of
So,
Inception-y.
would you agree then that Gal Gadot overall was a really, really terrific pick for Wonder Woman, but you wish you would have seen more of her?
I would have to agree more with that second part. I can't say fully that she was a perfect pick or the greatest pick for Wonder Woman unless I actually see her in her own film. When she was doing her Wonder Woman business, it did not disappoint. Let's just say that. It's definitely is worth watching and adds to the film.
Okay, so you mentioned something about Henry Cavill.
Mm-hmm.
What would you have wished to see from him?
Would you like to take that? We all have our own nicknames. Obviously, mine's sound effect for whatever.
No, he's
reason.
Marcos. He's fine. He gets his own
He
name.
gets his own.
He earned that.
Of course, this movie was supposed to be a Superman movie, but it turned in more into another Batman creation.
As it should.
Agree to disagree, but I think the fact that Superman,
You hit it right on the nail.
there we go.
Sounds good.
I did that. Superman, he was a secondary character, I feel, and I think that his dialogue could have been better, amongst other characters, when he was talking to him, because I feel like there just wasn't much there with his character per se. It was just Superman being emotional with Lois Lane and then trying to figure out how to stop Batman, and then
So you feel like he was
everywhere.
sidelined?
He was sidelined. I really think he was.
I agree. There's so much more to his story that I can't really make a fair opinion on until I see the extended cut, which is going to come this summer. I think that a lot of the things that we were looking for in this movie, that cut is going to have. And I think, especially with Henry Cavill, I think his Superman is going to have much more to do. I know there's a particular scene they cut out where he actually goes to investigate Batman, and it's kind of when he discovers that Bruce Wayne is Batman. That was cut from the film. That would have made a lot more sense if we had gotten to see it on screen, because he kind of just shows up in the middle of Batman's chase with the Russians, and then he's kind of like, "You're done. You're done." But I think that it didn't really give us that build up where we could be like, oh, okay, that makes sense, where he just shows up and he knows where he's at, because we didn't see him investigating any of that. And the fact is, later during their fight, right before they get started, he calls him Bruce, so we know for a fact he knows who he is before even Batman knows who Superman is.
Yeah, and I feel like they should have went with more of an approach in the TV shows where Superman sees through Batman's cowl, and that's how he discovers who Batman is. But then Batman, in turn, places a tracker or something like that on Superman and tracks him down to his apartment or wherever he's staying and finds out his identity, so that he evens the playing field.
Yeah.
But
If you know what he's talking about Superman, the animated series.
yeah, or Batman Brave and the Bold. There's been a number of
The comics have always given that kind of plot device that they both figure each other's identities out before they come into conflict. It's just kind of like they have a one-up-manship relationship. Okay, let's talk about another hot topic for this film: Jesse Eisenberg.
Don't even get me started.
I don't want to talk about him.
Yeah, but we should. I mean, what is it about Jesse Eisenberg that you may have liked or not liked about his performance?
Well, that's just the thing, is that he's just that. He's Jesse Eisenberg. I mean, Jesse Eisenberg has a tendency to play Jesse Eisenberg in his films.
Yeah.
And it's, I've seen the movie multiple times, and even in a replay, a re-seeing of it, I still feel awkward in some of his scenes, and we don't know if that was intentional or he's just awkward on camera. It's really uncomfortable.
He's like the male Jennifer Lawrence with only one face.
With one face.
One face going on.
Okay, I would agree with you, but I have to disagree in that aspect because I saw the film 3 times, and in each subsequent viewing, I felt that his performance got better and better. And it's not necessarily true. It could be that he got less annoying, because the first time I just wanted to punch him in the face. And not because I thought he was evil or diabolical, just because he annoyed the crap out of me. But as I viewed it more than once, I got a real understanding of his plan, and his speeches started to make much more sense. And I actually understood a lot of what he had done in the film. It made sense why these two individuals who could be friends were fighting, because he was actually manipulating them so well. It was right underneath their noses. And I think that, like most of this film...
That's that punch in the face. I'm sorry. It takes me a while here. I catch up. We'll edit it out in the bit.
We won't edit it out.
You know what I mean? Edit this out.
Everything in this podcast is going to appear in this podcast. I hope you just know that. So
Great.
Maybe you might be wanting quicker on the draw.
For those of you listening, we do have a safety word. It's potato salad.
Potato salad.
And so just keep that in mind.
I swear to George Carlin.
Yes.
I swear to George Carlin.
Those of you who know this reference, subscribe, please.
Subscribe,
So
please,
speaking of George Carlin, though, I think that a lot of these things in this movie will actually feel better in subsequent viewings. I think that at first it's a lot to take in, and there's a lot of prejudice going in this film. Like, let's be honest, I was never Jesse Eisenberg's favorite fan, and so I had that prejudice going in this movie, and a lot of people who didn't like Ben Affleck going into this movie probably felt the same way about his Batman. But I've heard also people tell me that as they've seen it more than once, they start to put those things aside and say, wow, that was actually pretty good, or wow, I really enjoyed that I didn't enjoy the first time.
I agree to a certain extent. I think I give Jesse Eisenberg Facebook or whatever his last name is, credit in that it was a new take on Lex Luthor. It wasn't the traditional Lex Luthor that we're accustomed to, but it was a more, I think, modern day take on what Lex Luthor would be like if he existed today. Mm-hmm. His son is more of a genius still, but more of a how would I describe it? One with that bordered the lines on insanity.
He's neurotic.
Yeah, neurotic, and I think his dad was more professional, and he was more formal in what he was determined to do to try to kill Superman. Or
he's more self-assured.
Yeah, exactly.
I will tell you this: the best Jesse Eisenberg scene in this movie as Lex Luthor is the scene where he talks to the senator, and he sticks a Jolly Rancher in the guy's mouth.
I thought that was a little creepy.
If you think about it, though, how in control would you have to be to take a Jolly Rancher, a piece of candy, and stick it into another man's mouth and not fear repercussions?
My question is, where were his hands? His hands could have been anywhere.
I don't want to know.
Very much everywhere.
All I'm saying, though, is that you have that much control over somebody powerful. This is not like just a Joe Nobody. Like somebody who actually has power, and you can stick a Jolly Rancher in their mouth? That's kind of impressive. Let's be honest.
Jolly Rancher.
It is something.
To be honest with you, I would still like to see a Luthor Senior in any future Superman film. That would be great. You could still have Alexander.
So you would love to see your man crush Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston, everybody knows.
Or I'll take Kevin Spacey back.
Kevin Spacey. Yes, I mean, for the fact that
like
it's
my
one line he can get out.
if that was my only choice, I would take him. But I have to give it to sound effects here. I would love to see Bryan Cranston at least make a flashback appearance as beating Jesse Eisenberg the way that he described it in the film, because I think he deserved it just a little. Just a little.
Just a little bit.
Okay, let's talk about the whole Lois Lane side story thing.
Oh, God.
I feel like it was complete garbage.
I thought Lois stuck her nose in business that didn't pertain to her. I think she wanted to be helpful, but in reality, she almost got herself killed and possibly Superman at one point killed, with the whole kryptonite concept.
She does save Superman, though, in one scene.
Which is another part that bothers me, because, all of a sudden she appears in the building that Batman and Superman are fighting and is able to stop Batman after this long grudge against him.
Which is not the first time, because she showed up, I remember in the first film, Man of Steel, she shows up when Superman and Zod, where Superman's about to take Zod's life, how did she get there? And how did she, as Marcos brings out, how did she get to where Batman and Superman were fighting?
Let's lay the cards on the table. Clearly, Lois Lane is a witch.
Yes.
She has magical abilities that haven't been discussed, and that's probably why Superman is always so weak. Because magic is his kryptonite.
I gotta find the witch sound. To see what he does to me?
Nobody needs the witch sound. Let it go, sound effects.
We need the
Let it go.
jingles.
All right,
Jingles.
but let's talk about the Martha
Ding,
scene.
ding, ching.
Let's talk about the Martha scene. What is it that you feel infuriates people about the Martha scene? Because a lot of people seem to be upset about the fact that just because Superman and Batman have the same mom's name, that they stopped fighting.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of debate on that scene itself. To me, I mean, it made sense if you were to explain it more in depth, but for the general public, I feel like it was kind of just dumb. You know, he mentions his mom, you know, who coincidentally has the same name as Bruce Wayne or Batman's mother, and all of a sudden that stops the fighting. I think that what really needs to happen is that they need to do a do-over of some kind, or hopefully the unrated version that's coming out on DVD explains it more in depth. And yeah, that's just my take on it. I just didn't really care for it.
Well, you know, I watch a lot of other reviews, and this one YouTuber had mentioned he kind of got it more. Again, like to Marco's fact, general viewers aren't going to really get the whole Martha thing, but the way he kind of viewed it, I kind of liked as well. And after he explained it, I like seeing it the way he did. He put it, and it is that it's never been kind of touched before that Superman and Batman's mother have the same name. The significance being the fact that in that scene where Batman has his foot on Superman's chest and he's about to kill him for Superman to say save Martha, Batman kind of makes that connection to one. Well, Superman has a mother, in the sense that it makes Superman more human to Batman. Something
So he has
can
an
relate
earthly
to.
mother.
Yeah, and the fact that they both have the same name kind of helps Batman relate to Superman more, because it's like, you had a mother named Martha, I had a mother named Martha. Is it enough to stop the whole situation? That's up for debate. But the fact is, it makes the scene where he makes a promise to Superman that he'll save Martha. That he'll save Martha more intense, because now he's trying to save his Martha. So he's projecting his emotion onto the thugs he brutally beats in order to save Superman's mother.
You know what? I did a paper in college on that because they had us do the psychology of a fictional character. And one of the things that I pointed out in my paper is that Batman suffers from the Jesus complex, where he wants to save everybody. I mean, the reason he dresses up like a bat every night and goes out to beat up criminals is so that nobody has to endure the same thing he endured, which is watching his parents be murdered in front of his eyes at 8 years old. So realistically, if you're looking at it from a psychological point of view, Batman is continuously going out to save his parents every night he's going out as Batman. So the fact that he has an opportunity to save a woman who's a mother to an individual that he knows, who shares his name, is like, it even makes it that much more, personal for Batman, because he's like, all right, I couldn't save my Martha. I was too young, I was a kid, I couldn't do anything, but I can save your Martha. I can do that for not only you, but I can do that for myself. Because I think that psychologically, it kind of does heal some wound in him a little bit, knowing that he was able to save somebody's mom. In the grand scheme of things, yes, it's kind of dumb, maybe, but from a guy who's been through that much trauma, it makes sense in a twisted way.
I think that is, a point that makes the whole scene a little bit more understandable. And I think that it brings Superman to a more human view, to Batman, because even though he did come from space, he still has an earthly mom. He has a mother nonetheless, despite the fact that he's an all-powerful alien, a human mother at that. And I think that kind of really contributed to the fact that it made Batman think about, this Superman individual is just another guy, another typical guy trying to do good.
There's a line in the movie where he says, "You were never a god. You were never even a man." But I think that moment kind of clarifies for Batman that in in a sense, he was a man because he was raised by earthly parents. He had to be taught their ways, which means he had to learn what it was like to be a man on Earth, even though he possessed extraordinary abilities. And I think that moment does give some clarification, or just kind of gives some perspective for Batman to realize that, okay, he wasn't like an alien who grew up an alien and then got transported to Earth. Like, he was human in the sense that he was raised by human parents. I want to move on to Alfred a little bit, but before we get there, since we're already on this topic, what did you guys feel about the actual title fight? How did you feel about Batman versus Superman?
I feel like it wasn't long enough.
It's true, and that's a problem that many films have. Is you name the film. Granted, it sounds cool. You name the film Winter Soldier, and you count down the minutes of how much screen time he actually has, and it's like 15 minutes. Or it's Godzilla, and he's in there for 15 minutes, and
just let it go. Sound effects.
Yeah,
just let it go.
You have Batman versus Superman in the fight last 15 minutes. You think it would have been more appropriate to just call it Batman and Superman. You take out that versus, you got Batman and Superman, then it's like, oh, it's a Batman and Superman film. It's not just focusing on the fact that they're going to fight together, because that scene only lasts a certain amount of time. I mean, this movie's so long, and you only have that much time. Why call it Batman vs. Superman? It's so obvious that it's just to sell tickets, and that takes away from the experience.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a fair point. I think they also tagged on the whole Dawn of Justice subtitle, because there is a lot of setup for the Justice League in this movie. I think it should have been called Dawn of Justice, subtitle Batman vs. Superman, and that would have made more sense, because Batman vs. Superman is actually the smaller part of the Dawn of Justice title. Now, that being said, I think the fight was super well done. I think that the preparation that you get to see Batman has made in his fight with Superman is fantastic. I mean, anytime Batman steps away from an area and Superman follows him, he's getting hit with something else. So that took a lot of preparation and planning and strategic timing for Batman to accomplish.
I just didn't like how unrealistic it was, though, in the sense that, yeah, I know it's a comic book movie, but you think about it and it's like, really? Batman comes out in a full metal suit. What metal on Earth could Superman not just tear through if he wanted to?
But you do have to identify that Superman's greatest weakness isn't what he's vulnerable to. It's the fact that he holds back.
I suppose so.
That's a good point. And I think that's why Snyder added the little plot point of Lex, or Jesse Eisenberg Facebook, wanting to... He kind of set up the whole fight. So it's really Superman not trying to kill Batman as much as it is having Superman trying to make Batman understand what position they're kind of in, right? Being forced in.
The ironic thing is that being said, it means that Batman was trying his hardest and Superman was holding back.
I totally agree. But to be honest, I mean, even if that's the case, at least Batman won, didn't lose, because it'd be like, oh, Batman tried his hardest and then
still
he lost. Failed. But like, oh, he at least he won, So it's like, okay.
Just for fun, I wish maybe the DVD includes a type of alternate ending, and it's just Superman not holding back at all, so that it's full-on strength versus full-on...
I gotta admit, that'd be a pretty short fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're complaining about how short the fight was. That's a 2-second fight right there.
And I never said it had to be a long
I think it was a homage to Frank Miller's, obviously, Dark Knight Returns, in the sense that it was also it was a plot that Superman didn't want to kill Bruce, and so he held back, and so Batman actually had a chance in the fight.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think there's a line in that novel that says, deep down in his heart, Clark is a good person, and I'm not. And I think that's what kind of makes sense in the fact that you can have a fight like Batman versus Superman, because Batman's not a good person. So he's going to take advantage of everything you give him. And if that means you hold back, well, that's your mistake. And so it makes sense that would be the reason why in this movie Batman wins the fight, because he's going to take advantage.
Right.
At the end of the day, he's going to do what he needs to do to win. That being said, we're going to come back to the last fight in this movie in a second, but let's talk about some of the other supporting cast members. How did we feel about Alfred? We have a new Alfred now. Michael Caine's out. Jeremy Irons is in. What did you guys think?
Well, when you find I just bonked it right now. I was trying to
If
do
I had a bomb effect,
Where's the
I
bomb
would have
sound
the bomb
effect?
effect.
Where's sound effects when you need them?
I was trying to do a
Drop the ball.
He was told to not do sound effects.
old
so-
school Alfred
not told that.
impersonation, and I forgot the line from the Dark Knight
From the Dark Knight.
about burning the forest down. when
He
he
saw
found
a
a tangerine.
tangerine playing with a tangerine.
Oh, there you
The
go.
size of a tangerine.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
I mean, how would his stupid old man heart feel then, huh?
Alfred.
Alfred burning down the forest. To find Wonder
Potato
Woman?
salad though, like on the grill. So
Potato salad.
I think that the new Alfred, the take on the new Alfred is interesting. He's more of like, he doesn't, like he's old now, older than Bruce Wayne, and he's just reached a point where he's just gonna let Bruce do him.
I feel like he's the fun grandpa.
I feel like he's like the doesn't give a crappuccino grandpa.
Yeah, he
like,
is.
Just do you.
He's like
Because
that.
it's your money, it's your life. I've
Right.
tried to raise you as best I can,
Right.
and you know.
But you think about it, it's like he's like the bachelor grandpa, where he's not tied down to anything. He just does what he wants, and he is who he is.
Yeah.
I love the scene. I love the scene where he's in the cave and Batman's at the party, and he just initiated the hacking into LexCorp, and he says, "Alfred, I can't stay down here. You know, I've already been caught like once." He's like, "Well, go up and join the party, Master Bruce." He's like, "Maybe you'll find a woman to make an honest man out of you." And he takes a swig of his whiskey and he's like, "Yeah, right, Alfred. In your dreams."
True.
That's a.
I mean, let's go. Let's change gears and talk about Mercy. You know those scenes where she's in there for 5 seconds and then she blows up.
Ace.
You know what I mean?
Waste
You know
is such a great character.
But
It was a good character.
it's to be expected though from Zack Snyder because look what he did to Jimmy Olsen, one of the iconic characters.
He
in
got the
comics,
point. I didn't even
you
think
know?
about that. He did the
You
same
know what,
thing
though?
to Jimmy
Jimmy's
Olsen
not,
as well.
Jimmy is not necessary.
Jimmy is Superman's best pal.
Jimmy is Superman.
So,
Okay, but all right, let's
I think the Jimmy to Superman is like the Mercy to Lex Luthor. Let's
Okay,
be
you're
honest.
right.
That's
That is true. I'm not saying that they don't have value, and I'm not saying they're not an important part of the canon. But think about this: what movie comes after this?
Justice League, I'm assuming.
Okay, well, there's Wonder Woman, and then Suicide Squad. Well, Suicide Squad, then Wonder Woman, and then
And then
Justice
Justice
League.
League.
But as far as like the group ensemble, you're right. It's Justice League, right?
Sure.
Would you want a movie filled with all the supporting cast of every member of the Justice League in the film?
It wouldn't be necessary. Not that I would have a problem seeing it, but I mean, it wouldn't. It
I
would
think
be like
you're trying to cram too much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if you could pick one supporting character from each person's life and include them, who would you pick out of Superman's life?
Well, it dang sure wouldn't be Lois Lane. I'll tell you that much.
But you would have to.
You'd have to pick one.
It is Lois
Yeah,
Lane.
exactly. I'm saying if I had my choice though,
I would play it like they did.
I'd rather have Supergirl.
No, not even Pepper Potts. I'd rather have them do it like
Supergirl's her own hero.
Thor's girl, where they just mentioned her, Jane Foster.
Jane?
It's like, oh, Jane, she's somewhere else,
That's
and
a
it's like
unique-
didn't even show her.
It
It's all
really
like,
is a
okay.
unique situation because that
Yeah.
girl does not want to come back to play Jane Foster. Natalie Portman is so done with that role.
Really?
She's not coming back for the third one.
No,
Really?
she is not.
Are they gonna pick a new love interest?
I don't know. Let's focus on what's going on.
Okay, focus on it. We got
Yeah.
sidetracked. Now,
Papa Chang Chang
Yeah,
Chang.
potato salad.
Potato salad.
Papa ding ding ching.
Okay, so going back though,
I gotta find it.
Jimmy
I gotta
Olsen,
find it.
what was the other one we were talking about? Mercy. I get it. They're important characters, but they're not so important that they can't be done away with early on so we can focus on the main cast.
You know what? If that's the case, hopefully Dick Grayson's dead then.
How
Yeah.
dare you?
Exactly, because you have Alfred. That's a given.
Yeah, but Dick Grayson's his own
He's his
superhero.
own hero. Yeah. So.
You know, your point is kind of valid, and I say this because just because the next movie is Justice League doesn't mean he could have just kept her alive and saved her. Like that gives him an automatic, like I could save her for anybody, or I can give the director, like if they want to do her better, but now you can't because she's dead. So it's like,
So
what
do you
want?
feel like
What
he
do
was too liberal in killing off these side characters?
I think so.
He wasn't as liberal as I thought he was going to be, but he
I don't think it was
definitely
necessary.
I honestly thought he killed Dick Grayson, and I kind of would have been upset with that. Like, I really would have been upset with that because Dick Grayson is by far the best Robin to ever inhabit the suit.
Well, he's definitely his own character, and it would have been taking too much of free, there.
Speaking about Dick
would have
Grayson,
cranked
the
too much.
Robin costume. How did we feel about not being revealed the backstory of that? Do you feel like it would have been cool to see why that suit was in that? I mean, we know why the suit's in the cave, but like seeing how it got there in this universe.
You know, I it leaves it open. It leaves it open for interpretation, which is always good, you know, because then other directors can kind of do their thing, or if you want to do something in the future. Yeah, but you reminded me of something. You reminded me that one person has a theory, and I think it's the same with Superman, but one person has a theory that the reason Batman actually kills in this universe, and this could be, you know, not true, but it's a theory, is that the universe they're in now, the Joker's already dead, and Batman has killed the Joker. So once he's killed the Joker, he doesn't have any problem of killing anybody else. So once Joker's dead, that was kind of like, okay.
But the Joker's not dead. He's going to be in Suicide Squad.
But Suicide Squad, I don't know if that takes place before Batman vs. Superman or after Batman vs. Superman.
I'll tell you why I think it takes place after.
Okay, so but you're not for sure though.
No, but I'm almost for sure, and I wasn't.
But you're not for sure though.
Okay, but I will tell you. Sure, I will tell you this.
About a ding ding.
That until a couple Sundays ago, when they released the Blitz trailer, which that's what they titled it, the Blitz trailer for the Suicide Squad latest trailer. They open up with a monologue from the Capitol, and Amanda Waller's in there with a bunch of CIA types and whatnot. But they're describing what Superman was capable of doing in the past tense, which means it alludes to the fact that he's already dead. So he says, "What if Superman one day came in, ripped open the roof of the White House, and took the president?"
That doesn't sound like past tense.
No. He says, "Who would have stopped him? Who would have?" That's past tense. Who would have stopped him? So, that's my theory as to why it takes place. It probably does have flashbacks. I'm not going to disregard that. It probably has plenty of flashbacks. But I do think that this movie does take place chronologically to a certain extent.
I'm not getting your point because, if they're speaking about Superman being dead, and that happened in Batman vs. Superman, so you're saying it takes place after, you're saying?
I'm saying part of the movie takes place after. So, if that's the case, and I think that the flashbacks do not include Joker in, his role in the film. Obviously flashbacks with the Joker are included, but his main purpose for being in the film is in the present.
Then I guess we're just going to have to figure out why Batman, if he kills in this universe, doesn't kill the Joker.
Sure.
Get it over with.
Not sure.
Perfect question.
But, going back to this film. Alright, now, the last thing I want to talk about before we end this podcast is the Doomsday fight. And Doomsday as a character in general. What are your guys' kind of thoughts on that?
You know what? Again, it was one of those circumstances where it was a different take on the Doomsday I'm used to in the comics. They made him look like a monster, but his whole origin and his powers are different than what I'm accustomed to seeing in a Doomsday character version. I thought it was interesting. I wouldn't say necessarily it was a bad take on him, but I would leave it as it was interesting. That's the best way I could put it.
Speaking just about his design, I'm sure everybody knows that, the comments about him being, looking like a deformed steroid Ninja Turtle, yeah. And then they do it, I guess, a slight nod to the comics where when he comes back after being thrown into space by Superman, that he starts growing the bones.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
I wish he had more spikes, though.
Yeah, I wish they would
have gone overboard with the spikes themselves.
Yeah,
it would have been really cool because he always does look like a mountain of spikes.
Yeah. Right. That's like giving Shredder his costume like they did in the Ninja Turtles, but him still being that knifey, Ninja Shredder. It's not the Shredder that we still know, but it has some aspects. Exactly. So same thing with Doomsday.
I just really miss those green shorts.
Those green shorts. His containment suit was pretty dope. Yeah. I always loved his containment suit. That would have been pretty awesome for him to.
Zack Snyder could have used so many things, but he decided to do a completely different look.
Okay. Sure. So but the last fight, I do have one gripe. But I want to get your thoughts on the fight itself between Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman. What did you guys think of the fight itself?
I liked it. To be honest, that was probably the best fight within the whole movie. I really liked Wonder Woman's fight scenes. I thought she really encapsulated what Wonder Woman's fighting style would be. Aggressive, warrior type, enjoying the battle. Batman, he was in the background with his little rifle shooting Doomsday because of the fact that he can't really go toe-to-toe with a being like Doomsday. But, he could certainly throw a whole bunch of artillery at him. And then you have Superman who's just doing his own thing and going at him fist to cuffs. So I thought that it really stayed true to a superhero team up against a major villain.
Okay. I enjoyed the fight. I thought the fight was great. Here is where I kind of felt robbed towards the third time seeing this movie. See, everything in this movie, after seeing it the third time, felt better except for this one part that I discovered while watching it the third time. Do you guys remember exactly what happens after Superman's hit with a nuke? Doomsday's fallen from the sky. He lands on an uninhabited island. And Superman's recovering in space, but everyone thinks he's dead. Wonder Woman hasn't shown up yet. And what is Batman's mission during this time period?
Let's see. Finding the spear, right?
Right. Finding the spear.
But was he finding the... Oh, yeah. He says to Alfred in the plane.
He needs to find the spear, right? Okay. Now, he gets a little hiccup in that plan, right? Because he's shot down, right? And who saves his butt?
Wonder Woman.
Okay. So, Wonder Woman saves his butt. And then who comes along? Superman. And what does he say to Batman?
I thought she was with you.
No. Well, yeah, he does say that. But he says, did you find the spear? What does Batman say? I've been a little busy. Okay.
He hasn't been busy.
There is like 10 minutes of time between that moment in the movie and when he shoots that kryptonite grenade at Doomsday before Superman drives the spear into him. Where Batman's only job is to find the spear.
Right.
And what is he doing? Nothing. He does absolutely nothing.
In his hand.
There is absolutely nothing that he's doing.
About a ding ding ching.
Edit it out. I don't want the bit with
I'm not editing anything out. So
you're
on your own, bro.
Yeah.
You're on your own this way. Anyway, he's doing nothing that whole time. When his only mission was to find the spear. And why is Lois Lane going back into the water to find the spear?
They gave her that mission instead for some reason. They gave Lois Lane the mission to find the spear rather than Batman. And Batman could have been the one, if Zack Snyder written it that way, Batman could have been the one that did the finishing off of the... Because he had a kryptonite spear, could have been the one that killed Doomsday.
All I'm saying, though, is that, like, you planted the seeds for him to have a mission during the final fight. And then you didn't even have him do it. You had somebody who doesn't even know the spear is the way to kill this monster, go do it, and then she gets stuck so that Superman can save her one last time. And then they can have their moment before he kills Doomsday. And here's the other gripe that I have. Clark Kent goes in to find the spear, right? Superman goes in to find the spear and can barely make it out of the water on his own. But you're telling me he picks up the spear and jams it into Doomsday at full speed in flight?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
I mean... I can suspend belief a little bit because I know that if Superman needs or has the will to do something for a short period of time, he could manage to face off Kryptonite for a little bit. But, I mean, all he had to do is pick up the spear out of the water and he almost drowned doing that. Like, they just painted a very inconsistent picture.
Which leads to this storyline packed at the end of the movie, which is the death of Superman.
Maybe.
It leaves it up for interpretation.
I don't know. Did you guys feel okay with them killing off Superman?
I felt like it could have been its own movie, to be honest with you. But then, again, a lot of plot points in this movie could have been its own movie.
There was like 5 good movies in this one.
I think at that point, they stayed true to the comic again. They went back to staying true in the sense that Doomsday does kill Superman. So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it because we know that he's coming back anyway, as you can see from the dirt that rose from his coffin.
Right.
At the end of the movie, but yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I'm kind of on page with sound effects here. I feel like they could have easily turned it into Man of Steel 2.
Sound effects with no sound effects.
Sound effects with no sound effects, but they could have easily used that plot point for Man of Steel 2. Like they could have had the first half of that movie be the death of Superman, and the second half be the return of Superman.
Are they going to do a Man of Steel 2?
They might. They may not. I don't know. But I'm saying, like, if they took that route, they could have had the first half of Man of Steel 2 be the death of Superman.
Right.
And the second half being the return of Superman. What I do like is that it leaves no opening for this question to happen anymore. Half the movie spends the idea of what would the world... I mean, does the world need a Superman? That is like half the movie in Superman's storyline is, does the world need a Superman? Well, yeah, because without it, Doomsday would have destroyed the world.
Sure.
So there's no more like questioning whether Superman is necessary. It's a fact that he's necessary. Because like threats like these, come up, and he's the only one who manages to take care of them, really, if you think about it. I mean, Wonder Woman was helpful, sure. Batman obviously couldn't take care of it by himself. But Superman is the one who was able to pull like the final trigger. So I think that I'm done with that kind of question. I'm done with that kind of like second guessing of Superman.
I'm done with DC, to be honest with you.
Oh, stop. I'm ready for.
Oh, be nice.
What? Be nice.
Oh, be nice.
Be nice. Okay. I'm ready for the universe, the DC extended universe, to be like, all right, we love Superman because Superman is loved. He's a beloved character. And in the comics, the world loves him. They hate characters like Batman because they don't know him. He's mysterious, whatever, and it works in his favor. But for Superman, he's adored. And in these movies, he's hated all the time. And I'm done with him being hated.
I'm done.
But anyway, all right. To finish off, though, what would you grade this movie? We don't have to use numbers. I think that it's better if we use a system where it's like, oh, okay, I'd go see it in theaters again, or I'd buy it on Blu-ray, I'd buy it on DVD, I'd rent it at Redbox. I would never watch it again.
I think the last one, to be honest with you, I'd never watch it again. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, I would go see it in theater. I did twice, so take my money. I mean, I think no matter how bad it is, us nerds are still gonna see the movie. So
would you say that it's that bad? I mean,
no, it's definitely worth seeing in theaters once. But I mean, I know that we're supposed to have our own individual grading here, but I would probably give it in a letter grade, not using numbers, but in a letter grade, I'd probably give it like a B. But I have not seen the full total 3-hour cut of it, so I'd like to get my hands on that when it comes out.
And we can revisit this when that happens.
I would have to say I'm gonna reserve judgment until the extended edition is released on DVD, But as far as the theatrical one goes, I would say that maybe have a little buzz when you go,
True.
It's a good time if you're drunk.
Yeah, I'm not drunk, but if you're feeling good a little bit, maybe you might enjoy it a little bit more.
Okay, so you would buy it on DVD then, or would you rent it at Redbox?
I buy it on DVD.
We don't condone drinking and driving, though.
Yeah, drink responsibly.
Take a taxi.
Have a designated driver.
Have a designated
please.
driver.
Call up Sabrina on 5th Street. She's got nothing to do all weekend. No one's calling her.
Don't trust her.
Somebody has to be sober.
Don't trust her with your wallet, but like I said, she's got nothing going on. She can drive you to the movies. Okay, I can honestly say I would buy this movie on Blu-ray. If not, see it in theaters again. And I've seen it 3 times. Because I do think that there's a lot to love here. I obviously think that there are some things that need to be fleshed out, but I think that with the extended edition, I'll get those things. I'm almost confident that I don't think I'm going to be missing anything after the 3-hour edition comes out. But I mean that could be because I'm a huge DC fanboy. I'm not going to rule that out.
Because I was almost confident that I wouldn't have any disappointments in this film, and I did.
You know what? I'm with you.
But you know what? I'm looking forward to the extended.
Yes, I absolutely am. But I will say this, that would be my final rating. I would buy it on Blu-ray. With the 3-hour edition, I'd watch it in theaters again.
Yeah. I mean, we're definitely going to revisit it. There's so many things we haven't talked about. We haven't talked about the visions that Batman has. We haven't talked about
the introduction of the other Justice League members.
No, yeah, we did fail to talk about that, huh? Yeah. Well, we can talk about that when the 3-hour edition comes out.
Yeah, when the full-length version of it comes out, so we could give a more wide view of the whole movie itself.
Yeah, I mean, this movie did kind of feel incomplete. And I feel like to give it a fair rating, we need to see the complete vision.
Well, we should have got the complete vision when it came out, but I agree.
Yeah, but no one's going to sit in the movie theater for 3 hours. Except for us.
Except for us, yeah.
But anyway. All right, well, thank you. That's been Blacklight Cinema's review of Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice.
Don't worry, parts will be edited out.
They will not. But
edit it out. I don't want people to know what the bit was within the bit.
Oh my god. The bit is within the bit. That's it. That's what you guys made it. Let it go.
Goodness.
But we will see you guys soon. I think the next movie we'll be reviewing is Civil War, right? Captain America?
I believe so.
All right. So when we come back, we will be reviewing that, and we can give you our thoughts on what we thought of that movie. I'm sure it's going to be good, and we look forward to seeing you guys in the future. Please subscribe if you liked what you heard here, and if you have any thoughts, please leave comments below. We appreciate all your guys' thoughts and support. Thank you.